We're live. Or are we Memorex?
Hi guys, did y'all miss me last week?
And you are? What's your name again? You got shorter. You need to pull your camera down here. Because you're like when you're on TV, I don't know if you guys know this. When the anchors, if you ever watch, they're all the same height. So some of them are sitting on phone books. No joke. Because there was the one station up north, the main anchor was like 6'5", and his co-host was like 5'2". And they couldn't get the chair up high enough, so she sat. This is years ago. She used to sit on phone books because he wanted it to be, because the camera is the same height, right? So they try and make it somewhat there. So anyway, welcome back, Lindsay. Did you have a wonderful vacation? I hope.
Yes and no. It was a good vacation, but now I need a vacation from my vacation because I'm wondering seriously why I had decided to have children.
Those 4 minutes of fun. That's why.
Oh, it was more than 4 minutes.
All right, 40 seconds. Is your hubby home?
No.
So you went to Universal, correct?
Yes, I went to Universal.
You were nerding out on Harry Potter, weren't you?
Oh my God, yes. I had my wand and my son had his wand, and
So when they first opened that, which was God knows how long, Lori and I went, my wife and I. I have never read Harry Potter. I've never seen a movie. And I'm walking around a village or whatever they have it.
Mhm.
None of this registering a damn thing with me. We went on the one ride, which was like a scrambler type thing.
Yeah.
She loved it. I was like, yeah, okay, that's nice. But you had a good time, though, sounds like.
Yes,
With
I
that.
did.
You got a short story you want to share just for fun? Good or bad?
Trying
I put
to
you on the
think.
spot, I know.
I've already heard a few. I'm remaining silent.
Well, my youngest child is obviously a Slytherin, just like his mother. And we're sitting there
Whatever that is.
in the line, and he's like, "Can it go any faster? What's the curse? What's the curse spell that makes everybody hurt? Will that make everyone move?" And I just looked at this child going, "And that's why you're a Slytherin."
Good for him. I'm glad he did that. I was looking something up while we were talking. But you did have a good time. So
Yes,
I'm
we did
glad to
have a
hear
good
that.
time. But
Weather good?
The weather was actually very pleasant. It was a cold snap, which in Florida terms means it was pleasant and not,
It was 80 instead
it
of
was 80 instead of 100, and the humidity was actually pretty low.
yeah, we had the same cold snap and we were loving it. It was like 75. It was beautiful.
So it was really nice. It was fun.
While some people had to turn their heat on.
Guilty. At least the damn furnace works.
All right, so we got a lot to cover today on the show. We're going to cover what we talked about last week. We're going to cover, which was we're going to have a chat with Curtis about what you can do with your local officials to try and help the various causes that we talk about. But we've had a couple things come up in the meantime that are kind of important. One is self-aggrandizement for me. I'm not going to lie. So about a week ago, the local TV station ran a story on domestic violence for Domestic Violence Month, in October. And I was floored because she actually put in there. So I forget the exact numbers, but it was like 35% of women in North Carolina suffer from IPV at least once in their life. Right after that slide was 32 point whatever percent of men. You could have picked me up off the floor when I saw that, right? Because I'm like, holy crap, they actually admitted it, right? So I reached out to her to thank her and say, if you ever need, I basically said, if you ever want to talk more about it, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't expecting to do another story, but I wanted her to know that I appreciated she put that out there because I work with male domestic violence victims, et cetera, et cetera. 15 minutes after I reached out to her, we were setting up a time for her to come interview me. So she was here yesterday for almost 2 hours, about an hour and a half of actual interview time. And if you've ever dealt with reporters, There are very good ones. There are very bad ones.
Yeah.
She was one of the best I've ever dealt with, honestly. And I'm not saying that lightly, okay? Because a good reporter will ask a question and shut the fuck up.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what she was doing. And you guys know me. I like to talk, right? You try and control me sometimes when I'm talking. You know what it's like. She didn't stop me at all. She just let me go. And there were times I was going for 10 minutes. And I give her all the credit in the world for that. So, like I said, it was about an hour, probably an hour and a half ish of full interview time. And after she left, she had to go. She was going to run the story last night, which she did, and we're going to share it in just a moment. I started emailing her to say, thanks for having me on, and God help you, you've got 4 hours to get this edited. I don't know how you're going to get an hour and a half down to 2 to 3 minutes in that time, but you're a better person than me. Well, she managed to pull it off. So it was really, really positive, and we're going to show the story because I want you guys to see it. And what I'm going to ask everyone watching to do, and I'll put the link while the story's running in the chat. And Curtis, if you can make sure it gets everywhere, because I don't know if it'll feed to everything when I do it, but you can check it. I'm going to ask you all, because it's going to be a link to their Facebook page where the story is. Please go and like it and comment on it. Just put a positive comment, even if you think it was shit, and it wasn't, right? And I'm going to talk about it after it runs a little bit more about why we need to be realistic with our expectations. But the reason I need you to do that is I'm cultivating a relationship with her. She's a good one. We can get a lot of traction locally out of this, right? And potentially, who knows? I've worked with reporters in the past that are now at the national level. Chris Jansing she was on MSNBC. I don't know what she was. She was local to me before, and I used to know her. All right, Curtis, why don't you go ahead and run it so people can see what I'm yammering on about, and I'll get the link while you're doing that.
News comes first. This is WECT News.
Hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us tonight at 5:30. I'm John Evans. It's a shocking statistic. 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. It's an issue that a man from Wilmington is trying to bring more awareness to. WECT's J.C. Caldwell talked with him today. And J.C., he says many people don't associate men with being victims of domestic violence.
Yeah, that's right, John. And even here at home, recent statistics show it is a big problem. However, as a domestic violence survivor himself, Dan Roman argues the resources don't meet the need for men specifically to get help. It made headlines across the country just last week. This video of a woman being taken from her home in Kansas. Police there say they're investigating it as an act of domestic violence, an issue far more common than we think. In North Carolina alone, over 35% of women experience intimate partner violence in their life. But as one man from Wilmington points out, a statistic even less talked about, over 30% of men in North Carolina will experience abuse too.
The numbers aren't that far apart, right?
Dan Romand is a 30-year domestic violence survivor.
We were together about 12 years. It really didn't start until 7, 8 years in.
He says back then the idea of men being abused in a relationship wasn't talked about or really even believed.
There was a couple of occasions where the police showed up, but one in particular where, I don't want to be graphic with it, but she laid me out, basically, knocked me out. Police show up, and long story short, they were going to arrest me.
It's a narrative Romand says he still sees in our society today.
It's still out there. The man is the perpetrator. You'll commonly hear it put as whoever's bigger.
Because of that, he says men lack a lot of needed resources. Nationally, 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner.
I wouldn't want 1 cent taken away from any woman's services, any woman's shelter, not 1 penny. If anything, I think their budget should be doubled. All I'm saying is, why can't we do the same for men?
I reached out to our local domestic violence shelter asking what they had available for men specifically.
I just had a quick question for you.
I was told they offer all the same help to men as they do for women, including beds at their own shelter.
I think a lot of them genuinely do want to help.
However, he says that's typically not the case,
Hi, my name is Dan, and you're watching Men Need to Be Heard.
which is why he started a podcast a few years ago to raise awareness to all men's issues.
All right, man, it's time for us to have a serious chat.
What can people do who are watching this to help change the narrative?
The first thing I would encourage is for men to start speaking up and sharing their stories. Number two is people need to start listening. And the stereotypes that have been created behind that is why we're at where we're at.
If you're a victim of domestic violence, man or woman, we have details on resources and who to reach out to right now on our website. JC Caldwell, WECT News.
So, pretty good, right? And I know people are, because I've seen a couple of comments already. Guys, we need to have realistic expectations on this, okay? The fact that she was willing to do the story, first of all, is a win. The fact that the producer and the news director allowed her to do the story is a win. The fact that because they probably, I don't know in her case, because she said she didn't have to go far with it, but sometimes they have to go up the ladder to the media directors on high. It doesn't sound like she had to in this case. We got heard, right? Is the story perfect? No, I'm going to tell you that right now, right? It's not perfect. I don't care, right? I give her a ton of credit because, as I said, we talked for about an hour and a half. There was one line I was hoping she was going to get in there, and I didn't ask her to put in there. And that was the line where I said, we don't want $1 taken away from the women. We just want the same. Because that was the big takeaway for me. And I remember her face when I said that to her, right? Because she wasn't expecting me to say that, right? So this is a huge, huge win. A couple people commented, everything a step forward is great. Yes. And the thing is, what I want to encourage all of you to do that are watching this show right now is exactly what I did. Pick up the phone, send an email to a reporter and say, hey, I'm a domestic violence victim, or can I talk to you about running a story on it? I'll tell you right now, the majority of the time you're going to get a no, but every once in a while you're going to get a yes. So my one email got that story going. But more importantly, I've now developed a relationship with her. She trusts me. So not only is she going to come to me, because she asked me, what else do you talk about? She'll come to me on family court issues. She'll come to me on all the issues that we talk about. That's what we all need to be doing, right? Developing these relationships. That's how we're going to get heard. So the final thing I'll say, and then I'll let these guys talk because I'm monopolizing, I know. I put a link in the comments. Curtis, I hope they went to everybody. I'm not sure I did it right.
Let me look. Because
You're echoing huge, Curtis, to me. Could be me. While he's checking that, guys, do me a favor. Click the link, just like it, put a little comment on it. All you need to say is great story. Thanks for doing this. That's all I want you to do. Nothing more. If you want to put a nice comment, fine. Do not put anything negative, guys. Okay? You're going to kill me if you do that. Just please go do that for me because you're going to help me and in turn help you. All right. You guys go with what your thoughts on it.
I consider this a big win. The fact that everything you were talking about before, the fact that they were willing to run it at all, because I've tried to do that here, and at least in my own town, they won't touch it. They won't. They always say no. That would make the excuse I always get is that it would reflect negatively on women and somehow hurt women. And my answer is always, why are we letting bad women get away with it? Like, don't we want to reflect negatively on women that do bad things? Like, no one is propping up women who drown their children, except they totally are. So, I mean, the fact that we got it at all in any state on any local news station, the fact that they did not treat it like a joke, because I've seen that too. I've seen local news stations that will say, "Local man claims that he was beaten by his wife," ha ha ha, and it's treated like an absolute joke. The fact that we added it all, and the fact that they now have us on record hearing that we're not trying to take away from women, we just want the same courtesy extended to men, which I don't think is an unreasonable request. I never have.
What's interesting, because a couple people are asking, like, what was the dialogue I had with her off camera? She was very open to hearing anything I had to say, right? Again, there's good reporters, there's bad ones. I consider her great, to be honest with you, having worked in media myself. The key thing with this is, as I was telling her things, I could see her eyes just get bigger and bigger, right? I was blowing her away, and I could tell that it was registering. And she said to me when I commented about there were only 2 shelters for men and none locally, she said, "Well, I called them and they said they have beds. You saw it in the story, right?" And I said, "Did you ask them if the beds are in their shelter? Or are they vouchers to local hotels or motels?" Now that's a whole other dialogue we can have, right? So she called them back and they're claiming that they have rooms that are co-ed. In other words, when I say, not rooms, dormitories. Sorry, I used the wrong term there, right? So, a man could be in one room and the next room over a woman could be. I guarantee you that is not the case. Now, she doesn't know that. JC is only going by what she's told, right? And believing it because she should. That's her job. But now I've got the ability to have a dialogue because I'm going to the shelter now. "Oh, really? You have beds for men? Can I take a tour on them? Because I have guys calling me all the time and I would love to be able to refer them to you." And then if I find out they lied to her and I let her know, she can follow up on it. Right? This is how you make change, guys. Don't think that story isn't going to every local politician that's running right now. I've actually already got the email written. Going,
That
where's
doesn't surprise me.
We all need to be doing this. Like to Lindsay's point, you're going to get a lot of rejection, right? I've been rejected 100 times for every one story I've gotten. And that's not a stretch on numbers, but you got to keep trying. You can't give up. You never know if you're going to hit the right one. When you talk about, like, we did domestic violence here, but when you talk about family court, keep in mind, reporters are one of the highest divorce rates of anything because their hours suck, right? All you got to do is get one and you get your name out there. And if you're not willing to go on camera, which obviously I have no problem, although I did ask her to shoot me from the waist up because I had shorts on. I was, inside joke. And you got to see the mess that is my house. But you never know when you're going to hit the right person. And that's why you want to cultivate these. So, Curtis is in Iowa. He should be doing it there. Lindsay's in Texas. She should be doing it there. Wherever you are, the more we do this and the more of us that do it, even locally, you get 2-3 guys doing it, they're going to go, "Wait a minute. Why am I getting all these requests all of a sudden?" That's how we get heard on this stuff. So do me that favor. And then any closing thoughts? I'm done.
Yeah.
It goes back to my favorite quote: "All that takes for evil to prevail is when good men do nothing."
I'd like to point out, if you saw what the Wall Street Journal recently did with 50-50 shared parenting in Kentucky and how they took Matt Hale's statements and twisted them against him. If you go on to Matt Hale's Facebook, and Matt is the guy in Kentucky that pushed this through in Kentucky in 2017 and 2018. Matt literally showcases all of the time they spent with this reporter in Kentucky, showing her around, talking to her, meeting with her. It was a big display. And then for her to turn on him the way she did, I have no patience. I've seen New York Times reporters do it. We had a law case here in Iowa that the daughters ended up calling the New York Times journalist, and the New York Times journalist made them the monsters.
That's always a risk,
Just
right? Yeah.
But my point being is the fact that we actually got a really good one who stuck to the facts, who stuck to let everyone else determine for themselves the reality of it. It was almost like a Walter Cronkite situation where he
Cassie
just
J.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like Cassie J.
Right.
And to your point, Curtis, I've done stories, and again, when she was coming, I had a good vibe from her, but I didn't know for sure, right?
Mhm.
The story she ran was pretty much what I expected, by the way, right?
Mhm.
They're always going to put the female in there. They're going to do that. That you have to just accept that, right? But actually she did better than I thought, to be honest with you, right? She put the statistic out there. She was, like I said, the interaction I had with her, she was very open to hearing what I said. Were there some things I said she didn't like? I could tell, absolutely, right? But she wasn't angry. It was more like he's saying things that contradict everything I heard in the past, right?
Mhm.
But my gut is, and I'm cultivating a relationship with her. My gut is, I gave her my book on domestic violence. I said, read this; it'll give you more info. She used that 1 in 4 stat, and I know where she got it. Right, she's pulling it from various locations that it's out there. But I said that number is much higher than it is, and she only had. You got to remember that story is what, 3-4 minutes long. She's got to digest this down and make it pretty and all that other happy horse shit. I think she did beyond an excellent job. I am over the moon pleased with it. I really am. Could I pick it apart? Sure. But again, it creates that dialogue. And when you have, to your situation, Curtis, where you get one that just the gotcha, right? I've had it happen. You know what? I love them. I love them because then I get to respond, right?
True.
So if I had one, I don't know, it was like 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. Facebook for me was young back then. And reporter misquoted me. And I went nuts, right? I'm like, that's not what I said. Here's what I said. Here's the proof, blah, 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 right? That was on shared parenting. It gave me the chance to put in the Facebook group my information. I actually think it's a better thing, right? Because then I get to talk. And can you hear this?
Your poor puppies.
They want out to me. But yeah, so that's why I'm saying you always have to be mindful that you're taking a risk. But even if they do turn on you, and they will, trust me, it can be a win in the long run. I'm just looking through some of the comments while we're chatting on this. So I know some people wanted to talk about, and we're going to touch it. We have to. And now, see, I got all my talking out of the way. Curtis, you might as well just put her on the screen. Well, you and I can drop off.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right.
Okay, so the DoorDash bitch.
Oh my God.
All right, so I watched the video and I saw what she was talking about, and my absolute first response was, how the fuck can it be assault when he didn't touch you? Like, how can it be assault if he didn't touch you? And then she had the audacity to go on TikTok and say, I was fired for reporting it. No, bitch, you were fired for filming someone without their consent or knowledge, doxing them online, and going against company policy to post about customers. If you had just left the food at the door, it wouldn't have happened. You aren't a victim, sweetheart. You are an content creator who was looking for stuff. You became an actor in your little drama. And then I got to use a wonderful analogy, because it looked like from the video that I watched, the door was barely open, and then she kind of pushed it open a bit so that she could film. It looked to me like the door had meant to be latched but didn't. And I've done that. I think everyone's done that at least a couple times. They'll try and latch a door, or a front door especially, and it doesn't always latch, and then the wind or whatever pushes it open or whatever. If I had been, say, upstairs taking a shower, and I closed my front door and it didn't latch and the wind pushed it open and someone happened to be standing on my porch when I came downstairs butt naked, guess what? I have not legally done anything wrong, because in order for it to be indecent exposure, it has to be with the intent to arouse. And if the dude's passed out, then there's no intent to arouse. You can't have intent when you're unconscious. So there's that. And then there's the fact that I just can't get over the fact that they're calling it a freaking sexual assault. And then I go on the thing and it's to read the comments. I'm thinking, surely someone has figured out what's wrong. No. They're all on her side. Oh my God, it's so bad that she got to see something uncomfortable and it made her uncomfortable and she's been violated. Excuse me, I'm uncomfortable when someone is breastfeeding their kid and they just plop a boob out on the table. I don't want to have to see that either. But unfortunately, that is not being violated. I have not been violated by having to see something that is bigger than mine. I am not been violated if I go to a water park in Texas and see someone who is clearly far more confident than I, wearing a bikini that is much smaller than anything I would ever leave the house in. That is not something that I have been violated about. And the simple fact that everyone is talking about, oh, well, men do this. They act like he opened the door with his thing out and was like going to town, look at me. No, the guy was supposed like asleep or sitting there with his back to the door in a state of undress in the belief of privacy of his own home. And for her to sit there and say he assaulted me as an actual fucking rape victim, I want to strangle her. This is why women aren't believed. This is why victims in general aren't believed, because people sit there and they take a mountain and they make it out of a molehill. Or in this case, the woman is fucking swinging at windmills, making a monster out of a windmill, going, oh my God, it was so horrible. And I feel so bad because I saw something that I don't like. Ugh! Okay, I'm done.
So a few things. First of all, I have to stop laughing because you had me cracking up. The whole, what was it? Something about the boob thing being bigger, but that was great. That was one of your best lines ever. So for those of you that follow me on YouTube, you know I posted a video about this morning, and I came at it from a different angle than a lot of people. First of all, we don't know, or at least I don't. And if someone has found out, please let me know. I don't know what jurisdiction this is. I have no idea. I've not been able to find it. Okay. Couple things that I'm aware of that are factual is, one, the video that's going around now is a doctored video. I saw the original. And the door was ajar. It was not wide open. Okay. I can tell you that. All right. The original video has been scrubbed from the internet. I did not download it. My bad. Okay. I wish I had, but I know probably out there somewhere somebody has it. Other factual things is no one is disputing that the order said to leave it on the porch. Right. And as I pointed out in my video, by the way, kind of an important point is I've only used DoorDash a couple of times, but you don't know who's bringing it. Right. As I mentioned in my video, you can see profiles and it may have a woman's picture on it or a woman's name, and multiple people replied on my video saying, yeah, but it might not be a woman showing up anyway, right? It could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, and the boyfriend shows up. So it doesn't mean for sure that a woman's coming. So this guy didn't know that for sure. But oh, by the way, he was freaking passed out, either asleep or drunk on the couch. So depending on your jurisdiction now, that's why I want to know the jurisdiction. Under most laws, not all, and Curtis, you can jump in on this, there's no intent if he's passed out or asleep, right? Not even for indecent exposure because he's within his domicile.
There's a reasonable expectation of privacy, which is why I use the analogy that I did, because I have actually done that. I have thought that I closed my front door and I didn't, and then I come downstairs and after taking a shower, I'm like, oh crap.
I've never done that myself.
Not doing it on purpose, but I saw the original video before it got scrubbed off the internet. Someone sent it to me because they wanted my thoughts on it. I saw it. The door was cracked like this. It literally looks like he tried to latch the door and it didn't latch or enough. Now that's just my theory, but it's like this. She started filming. It's like she saw part of inside the door, like a knee or something. And if she had just left, this wouldn't have been a thing. And I argue that she's not a victim at all. But if you want to argue that she's a victim because she saw something, she ceased to be a victim the minute she pushed that door open and decided to film this man and then put him up on the internet and dox him.
Right. That's the other thing.
He's the victim here, not her.
Right. Generally speaking, even when the door is unlocked or opened, if you still enter the domicile, it is still breaking and entering.
And there's a lot of question on that, right? So I've heard a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, a lot of claims. One, I have seen, and I've seen no proof of this, they're claiming that she actually went to the house, left or went to her car or something, and came back 20 minutes later to take the second video, right? The one that's flying around now. I see nowhere where that's been proven definitively one way or the other. I'm not saying it's not the case, but we need to stick to the facts here, okay? I've seen where there's a multitude of people saying it's on a Ring camera that she entered the premises, not just opened the door, but actually went in.
Well, I think I saw Jay had commented that he had heard that the owner had video evidence showing that she actually opened the door.
But we haven't seen it, right?
Correct.
So that's speculation, and to the best of my knowledge, and guys, feel free to correct me on this.
Country law up here.
Yeah, but to the best of my knowledge, the person who's the victim has not said that directly. Right?
And I imagine that person's probably been advised to be quiet.
Oh, he has, right?
So I mean,
but here's the thing that there's no question on this, and I said this in my video. He is 100% guilty of filming him without consent. There's no debate on this. That is a law she has broken.
Yes, right? Because she did not have his consent. He was buck-ass naked.
He was either asleep or he was passed out. You know, some people saying he's drunk, others, I don't know what it is.
It doesn't matter if you can't consent.
He could not possibly have given her consent.
Correct.
And he never even looked at her. He was out, in whatever form it was. So that means definitively she broke that law.
Yes.
That's one law, right? We can argue, was she trespassing or being an ing, right?
Well, it depends on the jurisdiction.
It depends on the jurisdiction. Yep. And did she open the door and blah, blah. There's some speculation on all that. I'll grant that one. I'll put that one aside. There is no question she filmed him because it's on video. I've seen it. Okay.
And she doxed him. She put his name, his address, and his phone number out.
Which is a violation of his privacy because where she got that damn information
was from the DoorDash
from her employer.
Yep.
Which that's why she was fired, not because she reported the supposed assault.
And then on the other side is she posted his naked pictures without consent on the internet. Right? That's breaking a law, federal law. She has broken at least 2 laws here, right? Possibly 3 or 4, depending on your look at it. And I saw bills on.
I would not doubt that a grand jury would indict her on 6 to 10 counts. 6 to 10.
Easily.
And I'm gonna say at least 2 of them are felonies.
For sure, right?
Yeah.
Without question. At federal and state level, by the way, right? So, because, she put it out on TikTok, that goes federal now, because now it's not just in their local jurisdiction. And yet, all you're seeing from, not the majority, but quite a few women is she was perfectly justified in doing this. She didn't break any laws and all this stuff. And that's where Lindsay's upset. But it just, where I want to go with it from here is speaking about, imagine how safe she must feel to do that.
Well, it's not only that she feels absolutely safe and justified in doing it, but I mean, the prevailing narrative is that like he was lying in wait like a predator because all men are predators. And we need to talk about the men that just do all this. And there are men that do this. There are men that do this. This is not one of them. And the prevailing narrative out there that I saw everyone going back and forth, they completely ignored the fact that she did all that stuff. And they act like he was waiting for her at the door with his wang out to like just intimidate her or scare her or like say, look at me. And he wasn't. He was passed out. Can you imagine if this was the other way around and the woman on the couch was a
we
was
wouldn't
a woman?
even be having this discussion.
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
No, we'd be having the discussion. We, meaning the three of us, should go find him and take him out, right?
So, I mean,
I plead the fifth.
Well, I would.
So the thing that bothers me the most is how everyone is so quick to automatically assume the man's guilt simply by virtue of being male, to transpose on him that he is a predator in wait, and everyone is on her side like she did nothing wrong. And then the women who have, like myself, who are actual victims, are screaming into the void because I've been assaulted. You have to be touched in order to be assaulted. He didn't touch her.
He wasn't even within.
He wasn't even
what,
close
10,
enough.
15
10
feet.
feet.
So, and I agree with Lindsay here because it's kind of like, okay, why would you do this? And then I'm looking at this from the standpoint we talk about all the time about how men hold other men accountable very, very, very consistently.
And women don't.
And the problem here is where are the women holding her accountable?
I got.
There are some that are. We got to be fair on this.
But not to the degree that men hold other men accountable.
No, I'm not arguing that. But there is quite a few. I would honestly say, when I was doing my research Monday on this, I was on X, I was on Insta, I was on TikTok. I would argue there were more women holding her accountable than not. To be fair, I have to be fair on that, right?
Well, certainly. I think part of my issue is I get into these debates all the time at the State House, and I go, I really feel bad for real victims because, look, I'm not going to defend a perpetrator, a real perpetrator here. But the problem is when you run into these scenarios over and over, and what ends up happening is the greater majority of them are all like this.
Well, so
without video.
Right.
That's the difference. There's video here, potentially multiple.
Oh, yeah. Like if she doesn't end up spending a few days in jail.
Well, let me ask you this, Curtis, as a legal guru compared to me, right? I don't know the jurisdiction, but this is the question I have. This actually happened on October 12th, 10 days ago.
Oh, shit.
Where's the police? How is she not charged already?
Well, we don't know that. I'll tell you this.
We know she hasn't been charged because people look for it.
No. Hold on. In Iowa, we don't put out the charges or the arrest warrant publicly until they've been apprehended.
Okay.
Because we don't want them to know where we're coming for them.
That she knows they're coming for her.
Well,
or are they? That's my question. I want to know what. I want to know this jurisdiction.
If we knew the jurisdiction, it'd be easier to determine.
I'd be on the phone to the DA.
I have a sneaky suspicion if it happened in Iowa or Texas, she would have been picked up by now.
I asked a local police officer here, city in North Carolina. He is like, they're not going to say anything publicly because they're doing the investigation. Okay, I'll grant that. But why can't you tell us if you're doing an investigation?
It's 10. Well, that's not out of the realm of possibility. It's very likely that they should have. At 10 days now, I'm looking at, you said it took place on the 12th. At 10 days removed.
More than enough.
More than enough. I mean, you would have had more than enough time to review all the videos. All of the videos involved. You would have
out there for the world to see.
Right. And I'll tell you this, it very well could be that there was a court order that put out a gag order to pull those videos off. Because it was
I'm
part
not,
of an investigation.
well, I'm not disputing that, Curtis, but my argument would be TikTok legitimately took it down immediately as soon as they became aware of it, because it came down fast because there was nudity in it.
Oh, well, I mean,
But
but you get what I'm saying. Like,
But to your point, I have not found it anywhere else since. So I
yeah,
think it is being scrubbed.
I wouldn't be
Um,
surprised.
the
Yes.
original, because there is, I mean, you can see.
They say that it's supposed to have happened in New York.
Okay, but so New York law, I know a little bit about, and if it's in New York, absolutely they should have charged her by now. Because state police would have definitely, if they were doing an investigation, you got to understand there is video evidence. I mean,
Now, let me ask you this, Dan. Isn't okay? So, for a crime like this, I feel like wouldn't it have to go to a grand jury?
would suspect it would, but that
Yeah.
don't pick her up.
Because
Charge her.
if it goes to a grand jury, you have to impanel the jury.
Mhm.
Not only do you have to impanel them, you have to, the prosecutor has to present the evidence of what they have
Mhm.
to establish whether or not they have probable cause.
So Bill Corbett
That's
says no.
if that's the case, I mean, she's probably being told, "Don't go anywhere."
But the thing is she's still posting about it.
Oh, that's
So here's the thing, right? I am aware that she posted his name and address on top of all this. So wouldn't we not agree as reasonable people that that's doxing and that she presents an imminent threat to him? So, I mean, we can legitimately make that argument, right? I'm not stretching there.
Well, not only did she she put out his name, his address, and I believe his phone number, which she got from the DoorDash app.
Right.
And the way she is presenting it is that he is like some predator lying in wait. That is an imminent threat.
But what she did, that's irrelevant, though, to what she did. Okay, so he exposed himself to her. That gives her permission to film him and post it online? No, it doesn't. Show me the statute where it says you can't post somebody's nude pictures online, except, of course, if you think they're a predator. Come on, right?
Well, even the predators have a right to privacy in their own
Yes.
home.
Innocent till proven guilty should apply to him, right? I'm not saying she shouldn't be given the presumption of innocence. Absolutely, she should. It's pretty damning evidence here, right? I mean, it's kind of obvious.
I
it
think you
worries
can make
me.
factual statements as you see them.
Yeah, and I mean, any reasonable person would have a tough time saying there's not something here, right? That's chargeable on her for posting his picture, doxing him, and all that.
Right.
Whether she's guilty or not is irrelevant to where we're at now, because we don't have all the evidence. We're making suppositions. There is so much BS out there, but some of it could be true too, right? If there's ring video, the cops have that by now, I would think. Because
10 days, they have to.
I have not seen anything to confirm it actually exists.
And if they have it, we're not going to. They will probably.
Well, yeah, and I'm fine with that. But that's where, if this were the other way around, to Lindsay's point earlier, you'd think the local sheriff or city or whomever, state police, whoever's doing the investigation, isn't doing a press conference going, yes, we're looking into it. We can't tell you anything because it's an ongoing investigation. That's what they would say. They're not doing that, which leads me to believe they're either trying to cover it up, potentially are doing an investigation and doing a real poor job of it as far as putting it out there publicly. And this chick is out there. Now, I haven't looked today, but she posted a video yesterday ranting and raving.
I think it's stupid to put out anything. And I think it shows the lack of class and lack of intelligence if you do something like that.
She's got to be nuts to be continuing this on. Anyone with half a brain knows, wait a minute, I might overstep.
Well, she doesn't have half a brain. She has exactly 2 brain cells, and they're both competing for 3rd place.
But even then, Lindsay, come on. I mean,
Well, no,
nobody is that stupid. I'm sorry. I cannot
no,
believe
but see, women that today are that stupid because they feel they are a privileged fucking class,
stupid or entitled.
entitled. She's
There.
entitled to do this because she
They're
thinks
not-
she's protected.
They are some at times mutually exclusive.
True. I just, we'll see how this all shakes out, right? But I know what I saw. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that door was ajar, not wide open like it is in the current video that's out there. Whether or not she entered the premises, I don't know for sure. I've heard people say she did and they've seen it, blah, blah, blah. I never saw it. Okay. Whether there's ring camera, I don't know it. I haven't seen it. And I'm one of those ones until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. Right. You're just assuming facts that aren't in evidence. But we know for certain she videoed it, taped them, and put it on the internet because we all saw it. And that is a crime.
Funny, I had this banner already made.
Ready to go. And that's where she still presents a clear and present danger to him because she's still posting about it.
So that's the funny part, right?
His life is in jeopardy.
Okay, and let's go down that line because it's interesting to me. They can't issue a criminal no contact order until she's been charged.
Which, again, should light a fire under their asses, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this. If it's her who's the one on the couch and he videotapes her, you think they're not issuing?
Shit.
You think they're not issuing a TRO tomorrow?
Hey, you bet your ass, and charges along with it.
You got it. So again, like to your point, they got to go through all the rigmarole to be able to do this stuff. No, they don't. Not on a TRO. No, they don't. You and I both know there may be certain statutes, but you know what those statutes are worth, right? There's no evidence required.
They're not worth the paper they're written on.
Exactly. So why isn't? And now maybe that would be on him to file for that, the victim, right?
No. No, okay. So in my head, the way that I would, if I were arguing this, I would have argued it from the point of view of, well, charges need to be filed because you have probable cause to establish that she broke these statutes, she violated these statutes. And then when we have probable cause to establish that she's violated these statutes, we seek an arrest warrant prompting her
that would trigger it.
Yeah. And then that would trigger the criminal no contact order where she is not to have contact with the alleged victim.
And yet, to our knowledge, and maybe it is there, we don't.
If it is, then she is violating the law.
But if she's going to potentially have pushed a door open and broken and entered, if she's posting him, she doesn't. The law is a piece of paper is not going to stop her, right? She's all. I mean, I'm sure we all have watched her videos where she's ranting and raving. She's not there. Okay, I'm trying to be nice about it. But this man's life is legitimately in danger. Because, like I said earlier, the majority seem to be, and I'm talking women here, the majority seem to be on his side. But there are quite a few that aren't. You think there's not a chance one of them wouldn't Charlie Kirkham? I mean, come on, that's legitimate. In this day and age, right? We can't deny that. His life is legitimately in danger. They can't stonewall this. If they have a case, and I think we can all agree there's at least enough there to take it to a grand jury.
Yeah.
And you know damn well they're going to get an indictment. Come on.
Well, they don't need an indictment. Yeah, they need
from the grand jury.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm looking at is all they got to do is simply establish probable cause, and a probable cause is a preponderance level standard.
Which, I mean, there's video evidence, right?
Yes.
So, we'll have to see how this all shakes out. But from the man's perspective, though, and this is what I put in my video, guys, this is another shot across about us, right? This woman had no qualms about doing this, and to this day doesn't regret doing it. And she has shown nothing, right? There are literally hundreds of thousands of women saying, I would do the same thing. Every single one of those women is potentially more than willing to file a false allegation.
So I went to the Facebook post where I originally saw it. And there are people who are like, why isn't the guy being charged yet? Why is everyone mad at her? And this is the top reply. It's because people don't believe women who are victims of sex crimes.
And they don't believe men either then, right?
Well, so I've seen tons of these comments all over the place. Women aren't believed. Bull fucking shit, they aren't. Women are the only ones that are believed. All a woman has to say is, he's bad, he looked at me, oh, woe is me. And suddenly she is instantaneously believed. The people who say shit like this, women aren't believed. I just want to slap them because women are believed. We're believed at the drop of a hat. We are believed on nothing more than our word. That's it. We are not, there was no evidence, nothing. And then we have someone sitting there saying, replying to her that this is not a sex crime. And then there's there's 460 comments saying, yes it is, yes it is, yes it is. He exposed himself. He was unconscious. You can't expose yourself willingly if you're unconscious.
And you can't have a reasonable argument with someone that's saying that, right? Because then the argument would be, let's say hypothetically, Lindsay, if you were laying in bed naked, I could legally go into your house, take your picture, and claim you harassed me. Because that's what, in a nutshell, what's gone on here, right? Whether she physically went in the house or she took it from the doorway, either way, she is guilty of taking a picture of him when he's exposed and posting it on the internet.
I strongly discourage people entering houses in states like Iowa.
Yeah, really, and North Carolina or Texas or any one of another ones. This is a microcosm of where we're at as a society. In this case, our side needs to jump all over this. To Lindsay's point, where she's being believed without, believe all women is in full force right now, right? And they're not going to back down, even if there's video evidence. Let's say there is a Ring camera and it comes out, are they going to back down from their position? Not a chance.
You can't fix stupid.
No, but the problem duct tape will help you muffle the sound.
Yeah, but the problem is there are so many of them saying it. This is the definitive proof that women will file false allegations and that every man is at risk 24/7, 365 from every single woman on the planet.
Well, not only is it proof that women will file false allegations, they'll spin a fucking story just to make a buck or just to make women look like, oh my God, we're the victims.
Every woman that's saying it's SA is filing a false allegation against the guy.
Yes, they are, but it's
That's
also
simple.
It also speaks to the larger entitlement of women. The only reason why women have the freaking balls, supposedly, although women today sometimes have more balls than guys.
You're not wrong.
The only reason they're doing this is because it defies common sense. This would not have been an argument 30 years ago. People would say, hey, he was unconscious, whatever. But now women are so entitled that they think I can do this because no one's going to reprimand me because I have ovaries. And unfortunately, they're not wrong, which that's the part that infuriates me. Bad women get away with increasingly bad behaviors because not enough good women are calling them out on it. Not only are not enough good women calling them out on it, but men aren't calling them out on it either. Men will bend over backwards. If a woman says, I was assaulted, men will leap to her defense. And to be fair, it is kind of ingrained in your biology to do so, to protect women and children. That I get. But with the increasing number of evidence out there that women will lie, and women have been lying, I'm sorry to say, for thousands of fucking years, How many men in history are rotting in jail because their wife, mother, girlfriend, daughter convinced basically they were the hand holding the gun, but the guy was the gun. The person who aims the weapon is just as guilty. We have dozens of proof of that throughout all of history.
Well, there's a country song where
You just lost me.
well, a gal says, "I never thought I'd get it justice from a judge under the seat." I mean, we talk about that at length. We look at that as men. I mean, he defended her, and that's a story as old as time. I mean,
and then female violence is also immortalized as violence against men is immortalized as, well, he obviously deserved it. Just think at Carrie Underwood's Two Black Cadillacs. The mistress and the wife got together to kill the cheating husband because that's and everyone's, oh, it's a wonderful song. Can you imagine if it was the other way around?
Well, what's funny is in divorce court, we get there and we go, people talk about this all the time, especially in no fault divorce states where, they say, hey, adultery is so bad and awful and all of these things. But the thing that we neglect to really point to is, why is the cheating happening in the first place?
Yeah, we can't have that conversation,
Right? No.
But we can when it's her cheating.
When
it was her cheating, he wasn't meeting her needs.
He didn't meet my needs.
He didn't meet my needs, so I had to look elsewhere.
I'll tell you what, I have knowledge of a South Carolina case that it was, we had the woman dead to rights. She had cheated. Got her on the stand, and the judge let her off that and really hammered the guy, even though it was an at-fault divorce state, proved that she was cheating. You know what she said? He was so verbally abusive to me, I couldn't take it. And I'm like, bitch, please.
Child, please, my face. Because then you can't get flagged for bitch. It'll be interesting to see where this all goes, and we're gonna have to stay on top of it because it ain't gonna go away anytime soon. But I think this is, again, much like we talked about at the beginning of the show with the story being run on local news. This is an opportunity where we need to step up, right? Because we are getting drowned out in many ways by those out there supporting her, right? By the way, there are plenty of men doing it too. A lot of them. I saw them, right? They all voted for Kamala, but I'm making a joke out of it. But the fact of the matter is there are men out there. My fear is violence might come out of this against the guy because they totally believe her. And no amount of evidence that is shown to them is going to change their mind, right? I know what I saw. Do I think she should have a presumption of innocence? Absolutely 100%. But do I think she should have been charged by now? Yes. I think she should have been arrested by now. All right. 10 days. Should have got off the pot already. If it is New York, depending in New York where it is, if it's upstate, I would be shocked if they haven't done anything anymore. If it's in New York City, well, New York City's a shithole right now. The police are not working in New York City. All right. I have friends that live there, and I don't blame them for what they're going through. Wherever this was, there's so much to it. But the only thing I would caution everyone is stick to the facts as we know them. If you haven't seen these videos with your eyes, if you haven't, like the Ring video that's supposedly out there, or the theory that she left for 20 minutes and came back, which I have seen nothing proving that, so I won't go there, right? Stick to what we know. It is without question she filmed him. It is without question she posted it on the internet. It is without question, not even she's disputing, that on the order it said just leave the food on the porch. Those are the facts as I know them, and if someone wants to tell me there's other ones that definitively, send them to me because I want to do follow-up videos on this. All right? If you see something and definitively can prove it, send it to me because I want to stick to the facts on this. But again, I see nothing at this point that says he did anything wrong other than He was drunk or fell asleep. All right. That's all I can see. Other than that, I see that she filmed him and posted him and is doxing him and continues to do so. That's all I know for sure.
And doxing is illegal in most states.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and with New York being as progressive as it is, I would have to believe that a reasonable, prudent person would believe that doxing is very illegal in New York even.
And once we know definitively where this is, we need to jump on the DA, the chief of police, or the sheriff, or whomever's doing the investigation, and make sure they know we're politely, by the way, right? Let them know we're watching. Because all they need to do is, lose the paperwork in a couple of weeks when this all dies down on the internet, because that's what happens. And she gets off scot-free. She needs to be held accountable for what she did. Even if he's guilty of what she says, that does not absolve her for what she did in any way, shape, or form.
And I think that's the problem that a lot of people default to, is that, well, he's guilty. Okay, but two wrongs do not make a right, and an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Two people can be guilty at the same time. And just because the man is guilty doesn't mean that the woman should be got off scot-free. Now, I saw the same video Dan did, I think, because when I went back to go look at it again, it was gone.
Yeah, they're shoving it everywhere.
But I know what I saw. The door was like this, this wide. That's why my headcanon, my personal belief is that the door didn't latch, and it kind of opened a bit.
Even if the door was, even if he just, like I do it all the time, I leave my door slightly ajar, right? And if you fall asleep on the couch, I mean, not to be crude, he could have been having a little fun while he was waiting for his food, if you catch my drift, right? And fell asleep. Or he could have been stoned or drugged. We don't know. We don't know. It's all guesswork.
But the presumption that the man is the predator in this case, that is what... So the two things that bother me most about this case is the presumption that the man is the predator and that the woman is the victim automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she has the fucking audacity, and then all these other people have the fucking audacity to call it sexual assault.
Which, as a survivor myself, I'm not as offended as you are. Probably because at this point I'm so numb to it, because I've seen it for decades.
And
but your point is 100. My point that I want to make is your point is 100% valid.
Calling shit like this sexual assault is why the meaning doesn't mean anything anymore. It used to be that if you accuse someone of sexual assault or rape, it was a heinous crime, because it is a heinous crime, and it meant something. But now it's been watered the fuck down so much that, oh, he assaulted me. And we're like, and?
It's indecent exposure at most.
At most.
But legitimate claim to say he was within his domicile, so it can't even be that. But I'm just trying to be, somewhat open here. At most, it's indecent exposure. At most. That does not justify what she's doing. And it is certainly not SA. And it's, to actual victims. Think about this. If there is an investigation going on, how many hours and how many dollars are they going to have to pour into this? Right? That's taking away from actual victims.
Because every time someone chases a wild herring, a false allegation, because that's what this is. It is a false allegation. Every time police waste resources chasing after false allegations is when they aren't chasing actual allegations. So there's always the argument that we can't hold people who make false allegations. They're always talking about women. We can't hold them accountable. Why the fuck not? Oh, well, it will discourage real victims from coming forward. Actually, I would think it's the opposite. It will encourage real victims to come forward because they know they're going to be taken seriously. Real victims, male and female, are not taken seriously because people lie. I always, always, always refer back to The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Everyone knows about The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And yet, for some reason, people act like, well, women would never lie, that's what bothers me most about this case, is that women would never lie. 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 Women would never women today is amongst ourselves, when there's a large group of women talking and we have the presumption of privacy, much like this poor man did, we will flat out admit that women lie. Women lie through their teeth. Women lie through their teeth. Women are vindictive little bitches. It is our worst trait. We are vindictive shrews. It is our worst trait. But put us in front of a mixed crowd, women would never lie.
So let me ask you this, Lindsay. All right. So take off your current clothing, put your nose ring in, dye your hair purple, get a couple tattoos and all this stuff.
I don't know that I like this. But okay.
Well, I'm trying to create a hypothetical here. Let's say 4, 5, 6 months down the road. We're making assumptions. Let me say that. But let's say they find she did push the door open definitively. They charge her, take her. There you go. Oh God, that is so hideous looking. Take it out, yeah, please. But let's say it gets to the point where she's either been tried and convicted or whatever. 4, 5, 6 months down the road, which, as we all know, in internet time, might as well be 200 years down the road, right? It all comes out. She's guilty. What do you think all these women who are standing by her do then?
Deflect.
That's what I think they'll do.
I agree.
They're just gonna, like freaking Neo from the Matrix. They're gonna dodge left, right, and sideways.
Well, let me
it's an Olympic sport.
They're going to deflect publicly, correct? You would agree with that? What are they going to do privately in their minds?
They're going to say she was justified.
They won't come out of it, right? That's what my thought was.
They're going to say that, well, he wasn't guilty, but all the other men are.
Yeah.
This was
in their minds.
In their minds.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he wasn't guilty, but all the other men are. So that's exactly what they're going to do.
So the reason I asked that is that not proof that every single one of those women could easily file a false allegation against a man?
Oh, it's 100%.
It's absolute proof.
So if that's the case, and there are literally millions of them saying it, does that not prove definitively that men are not safe in public? Or now in their own homes?
Well, my argument is men haven't been safe.
No, I know that. But you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to talk, like, you and I know that. Curtis knows that. Everybody watching that this knows that. But where I'm going to is like that, because I told the reporter yesterday about this story. She's like, what? And she was like, no way, right? And she's on our side, by the way, right? She's like, wait a minute. She posted a video and all that because she was going by facts, right? And I said to her, now understand, you need to go look at this yourself because I'm telling you my version of it. And I'm sure she's going to. But it's interesting because so there's a person, she does not have a TikTok account, wasn't even aware of the story until I told her about it. She'll do her research and come to a reasonable conclusion. And I'm sure she'll be agreeing with us, right? Because she asked me the right questions on that. Those people will get it. But the nose ring, septum pierced, 14 different color hair, haven't shaved their legs in 6 months crowd. My fear is they're going to take this scenario, even though in their mind they know they're dead wrong, they're going to find a way to whitewash it and justify it. And that makes them even more dangerous to men. Because now, even when they know they were in the wrong, they still won't admit it. Which means they're far more likely to file a false allegation.
Well, I mean, I have met they're the women that are the ones who, when I hear women talk to each other and they're angry at their spouse because say he forgot their birthday, accuse him of rape.
Oh, I've heard stuff like that too, many times.
I've told this story numerous times. I had my husband was stationed in Oklahoma. He was deployed along with someone else, and the wife was upset that he wasn't contacting her. Never mind the fact that he's in, the desert from hell, the sandbox from hell, and can't actually contact her. They got one sat phone. And she was mad that he wouldn't tell her exactly where he was. Never mind the fact that he was actually forbidden from telling her exactly where he was. And the next thing I know, she is accusing him of rape. She's talking to a counselor. And she's like, oh, well, it's not going to get further than that. They're a mandated reporter. They're going to report it. The military takes that shit seriously. And I had to go talk to the first shirt. I had to say that this woman is making these allegations against an airman that is currently deployed. She is alleging these things. Here's the text message conversation where we were talking about how she's feeling upset because he won't tell her where she is. She is doing this to try and hurt him. He wasn't even present in the United States when this supposed event takes place. And nothing happened to her. They're still married.
And that's, again, that's another side of this, right? If she gets off scot-free, it's going to embolden women even more. Because this is out there by the million. I mean, the first video when I saw it Friday morning, I think it was, had well over 10 million views. The current one that was going around when I looked at it Monday morning was approaching 20 million views. Now, I some people have said she's been demonetized. How do we know that? Because if she hasn't, she's making bank on this. 20 million views.
Last I heard, and I
Figure.
don't know if this is true or not, but I saw at least a video clip that said she was angry because TikTok demonetized the video.
That video. I saw that. It was the original video got demonetized. It got taken down. As it should, because it was blatant nudity in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the current one's been demonetized.
I don't know if that they have either, but
I'm speculating. My gut feeling is it's not, because she would be screaming bloody murder if it was, right? And maybe it has been, and we just don't know. It's speculation.
I'm still I was still on vacation when all of this happened, but I tried to keep abreast of it a little bit, and I'm still working through her rants. I can only do her in small doses because her voice, is just like nails on a chalkboard. The fact that she's upset at all, that she's getting basically held accountable, and this is yet more proof of women versus accountability. Tell a woman she's being held accountable for her actions, and most of us will not react well. We will bitch and moan and scream and, no, you can't hold us accountable. How dare you? And I would like to hope that she's being demonetized, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Well, I will tell you. Let's assume 20 million views on that video. Low end from TikTok, $15,000 to $20,000. Low end.
And see,
that's one video too.
So I can't help but think that she did it for a couple of reasons. One, and I'm speculating here, but this is just my insight into the way the female brain works, which I don't like it in here. It's dark, it's scary. I can hear laughing, and I don't like being in here.
Come to our bright side.
But I can see that she did it for victimhood points. She did it to push a narrative, and she did it for monetary gain. She's like all of the women who always accuse sports stars or politicians or whatnot of this and that. She's looking for a payday, and it sucks. But I've heard the unfortunate reality is that I have unfortunately met more women who have lied about it than I have met actual victims. As a victim myself, that's saying something. And nowadays, because I have met more women that have lied about it and bragged about lying about it too, like they're proud of themselves for lying about it because it ruined his life. Whenever I hear an accusation against anyone with any amount of wealth, my first gut reaction is she's lying. And I feel awful because I want to be able to give someone the benefit of the doubt. But I have unfortunately seen far too much evidence to the contrary. So whenever I hear someone accusing anyone with any modicum of, infamy, my first gut reaction is always, she's lying.
Well, I mean, from the monetary perspective, I don't know that she thought of that at the time. I think she was doing it for the clicks, likes, and all that for sure,
Yeah.
without question. Monetary, I'm not sure on. And as you guys know, I despise TikTok, right? Even though I'm back on it now. To their credit, they took that video down, the first one, which means they demonetized it. But you're looking at this from the perspective of financial gain. In her mind, I don't know if she's thinking this, again, supposition here, but she's thinking potential lawsuit against DoorDash, right?
See, that's what.
For putting her in this position.
Well, no, that's what I think that. That's why I think she's doing this for a payday, is because she's accusing DoorDash of firing her for reporting sexual assault. That was the story I first got. Is
she's still claiming that.
Woman accuses.
Oh, so she's claiming retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the story I first read, and that's why I think she did this for a payday.
And DoorDash's response, and you can go find it, it's all over the internet, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, is that no, she was not fired for that. She was fired for posting a customer's personal information online.
And I personally,
and that's in their TOS.
So that's the story that she's running with. That's the title of her original video. That's what makes me think she did this for a payday. Is she saw an opportunity. She created a narrative out of nothing, because women are very good at that. And then she's going after DoorDash. And screw what happens to this poor guy, which is why I say he's the victim. She's not a victim. There is nothing that makes me think that this woman is a victim of anything other than her own stupidity.
And here's the thing. He's got a hell of a case against DoorDash too now.
Yeah.
Because, again, no one is disputing what the instructions were on the order. Leave it at the door or on the porch, right? No one that I've seen has disputed that in any way. If I'm that guy,
you know what? If I'm DoorDash, I agree with Houston.
Which is
time for DoorDash to pressure the local
authorities. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitively, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Right? Either side, because they're going to get sued by both of them. That's a given. Whether anybody will win those suits.
Well,
remains to be seen.
In civil torts, we talk about mitigating your damages. Everyone has a duty. Both parties have a duty to mitigate their damages, right? So in this sort of situation, I would agree with Houston. Mitigating your damages includes putting pressure on local authorities to actually prosecute her.
And they may be doing that and we don't know.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, we have to say
it's an excellent point to make.
It absolutely is. And it's, again, we'll see in time. My gut feeling is they'll settle because they don't want this. There's no way they want this going to court. No way. Because there's no win for them. Right. But again, it speaks to they are another victim here in a manner of speaking. Right.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, I'm no fan of DoorDash. I've used them twice. I'll probably never use them again. I used them during the pandemic because we didn't have a choice, right? I haven't used them in 3-4 years. But they are a victim here as well because their reputation is taking a hit, pretty serious one. They, in our opinion, I think all three of us would agree they did the right thing in firing her. But a lot of people don't think they did.
Well, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but what do we say about opinions?
But the problem is those people were probably the most likely people to be using DoorDash. Those people are
the most likely to be making false allegations.
On top of it, right? So now this puts DoorDash in a horrible position.
I can see guys, especially the guys who work from home, that get stuff delivered to them, just leaving in droves because they're protecting themselves.
There's no way I would ever order now for that reason. And I
wouldn't order from them now because who's to know that someone on the other? Because that's another thing. vindictive women don't necessarily just go after men. They go after women too. I mean, we say, how many times on the show do we say that the people that come after me the most are not guys? I get lambasted by women more than I have. I have more threats from women than ever I've had from men.
I need to hook you up with JC, the reporter, because she needs to talk to you about that. Because she was blown away when I told her that I get death threats, and I'm like, "Oh, I get nothing compared to my friend Lindsay." Anyway, again, we went way over on this topic. Oh well, we'll get to you next week, Curtis. Sorry, but this was, I mean, it's important because this has a lot of ramifications for men in general, right? This is a wake up call, as I said in my video that I did. We cannot ignore this. This is a shot across our bow. Whatever the facts end up being, the truth of the matter is this man was put in a very bad situation. His reputation is destroyed. I saw somebody mentioning earlier about him going to work. I would bet he's not going out in public at all at this point. How can he, right? His life is potentially in general danger. And we need to heed this, right? I hate having to generalize, but we have to. This wasn't one woman doing this. There are literally millions of them supporting her. Millions of them. And all you need to do is find one. Because 99 of them will be like Lindsay. But that one out of the 100 is all it takes. And you're destroyed.
So, on one hand, I am horrified that this happened. On the other hand, silver lining, the rot is starting to show itself. So women have become so entitled, so superior in our so confident in the belief of our own superiority that we could do something so horrible and get away with it simply because we are women, is exposing the rot. We're basically telling on ourselves. Congratulations, ladies, y'all are playing yourselves. You're playing us, because I've been talking about the rot for years, but it's always been, coated with sugar and spice and everything nice. I hope, and as horrible as this sounds, I hope more women do stuff like this, because I want them to help me help
What? What? Did I hear that right? I get your point.
I want more women to out themselves for the horrible, terrible humans that they are. And then maybe, just maybe, to the point about domestic violence that we started with, people will start believing that women can be shit humans and that men can be victims.
Let me ask you this, Lindsay. Do you think it creates more yous? More women like you?
Yes. Because in the past decade, I have seen more women like me cropping up over and over and over again.
I got off TikTok for months, and I've been on it quite a bit the last few days for obvious reasons because of this story.
There are
to tell you, for there's you, Sarah, and all them we all know about. There were easily, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe even 20 women I had never seen before talking about our issues.
There's not I think I've received so I wasn't on social media a lot while I was on vacation because I was on vacation, but I did try and stay abreast of the story. But I came back to DM requests of
I had so many of them, I'll never get
DM requests and a whole bunch of new followers, and almost all of them are new women that talk about the inequality, the social inequalities between men and women, and the double standards. And it's one of those damn catch-22s. I'm thankful that more women are waking up, but I'm horrified that it took something happening in order for them to take the blinders off, in order for them to take the gag out of their mouth. I unfortunately, however, realize that in human society as a whole, our history has proven that it usually takes an event to force change. There's people like me who have been yelling into the ether for, almost 2 decades now. But even I had a spark of an event. Even I had something that propelled me onto this path. And like I said, I'm kind of torn up about it because on one hand, I am horrified that this man was victimized like this. But on the other hand, I want the the wretched humans in our society to continue to show themselves for the wretched humans that they are. And maybe, just maybe, if enough people do it, society will wake up to the fact that women and men are actually equal. And that means that we are just as capable and just as willing to be horrible, wretched humans as men. And our victims include men and women. And maybe, just maybe, we can do something about the domestic violence numbers that we talked about at the beginning of the video, because most of the men who are victimized in domestic violence are victimized by the women in their lives. But no one believes them because, oh, women are unicorns and princesses and sugar and spice and everything nice. You mean sugar and spice and arsenic? That spice is arsenic.
Yeah, and that's like people are commenting. I put the link into that thing that Lindsay just referenced. So just quick shout out because we're starting to run out of time. First part of the show, if you missed it, I was interviewed locally on our local TV station about domestic violence, being a victim, and the lack of services and all that available. Do me a favor if you haven't already, and I actually been watching, quite a few people have gone and liked. Go like that story. I put the link in the comments. Like it. Just put a comment on it. Whatever you think of it, just say, thank you for doing this. Thank you for speaking out for men. Something along those lines. You don't need to write a novel. If you want to share your story, I would encourage you to. If you're an actual victim, you will help me to help men in more ways than you will ever know. All right? Because I'm developing this relationship with the station. And if I can get them to see that it's not just me talking, right? It's a whole bunch of us. They'll be more inclined to do more stories in our favor. And that's one of the ways we can win the media over. One of the things I talk about all the time. And actually had this conversation with her. All the media cares about is eyeballs and ears. If they get clicks on their Facebook, if they get viewership on the TV, if they're on radio, somebody's listening to them, they can sell ads. Their buy rates are based on that. That is all they care about. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about what the story is. If it bleeds, it leads for a reason, right? So let's show them that this is an important story to us. And it'll take you, what, a half a second? And if you don't have Facebook, because some of you don't, what the hell, go get it for this purpose only. So please, I'm begging you, please do that, all right? Literally will take a second out of your day, and you have no idea how much of an effect this could have. Wow, we covered so much. Best part of the show for me was watching Lindsay rant.
That's going on the highlight reel.
I might have to go into Opus Clip and clip that and post it, because that was good. And you shut the puppies up because they heard you.
One bitch was yapping and they shut the other ones up.
Hey, Rudy's not a bitch.
Okay.
Rudy's my little boy. But yeah, I mean, this whole scenario that we're talking about today, I mean, we covered two big issues. Unfortunately, we screwed Curtis in the process, because we were going to have that whole conversation about what you can do with your local politicians. We'll table that one for next week. Because we still, what are we, 10 days out from voting?
Yeah.
Although I'll be early voting this weekend, but
I've already voted.
Have you? Yeah, I'll probably go Saturday.
Well, I had to, because I'm leaving the day we start voting.
Segue, run with it.
So we're going to Washington, D.C. On November 5th and 6th, and we'll be there. We're gonna try and hook some stuff up. We're getting a little wrenches thrown into our plans because
Damn
Congress shutting down the damn government.
And
Chuck
leaving,
Schumer
and leaving town. But hey, we can check the White House being torn down.
Wow. But it's one of those things where I think we are going to have an awesome time. We're going to get to tour some places.
Maybe.
Well, wait. I'll tell you what.
Capitol visitors are shut down right now.
Well, here's the thing. Arlington is not.
Yeah, we got to go to Arlington.
We got to go to Arlington, and we're going to have 2 young assistants.
Pack mules.
2 grunts.
Two little grunts.
So, yeah. Well, so yeah, one of the things I know the Capitol is shut down right now, so you can't go visit it, and probably most of the museums. But that doesn't mean we can't do content elsewhere. And hopefully we can get some of the guests that we were hoping to have on.
We're waiting.
It's out of our hands. I mean,
I'll put it out there. We have asked a congressman who is very, very open to it. But the problem is, doesn't know if they will be in DC due to the shutdown.
And if they are, they might be in session and he can't leave.
That's the other.
And that's not their fault.
No, that we're trying our best to do it. It's just
worst case, it'll be the three of us yapping away like we usually do.
Damn it, Schumer.
Don't get me started on him. Right. Great show. We covered a lot on some pretty serious topics. I know we'll be talking about this again down the road. Again, final plug, go do the favor on that and like all that stuff on the Facebook link I put in. Guys, we're here live every week from 4 to 5:30 Eastern. We're up on now 5 channels, right? My YouTube, my Facebook, and then the Boy Meets Squirrels on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure whatever one you're watching this on, give us the like, give us the share, give us the follow, and all that. One final thing, and then I'll let these two talk. I have a new YouTube channel. Yes, I do. Men Need to Be Heard too. Go follow me. So that channel is going to be different than my main. So my main is talking about issues and all that. I have had hundreds of requests for me to play dad, basically, or grandpa, and give advice to men and talk about, like, how to live a better life and all that. It does not fit with my existing channel, so I've created a new one. I've started putting videos on it. Go like it. Men Need to Be Heard too, TOO. It is on YouTube, and I'll be actually putting the same videos up on Men Need to Be Heard too on TikTok. Sorry. I'm going to shut up now. You two finish the show.
All right, guys. First about hi, Father X. He just popped up in the chat. We're done for the week. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.